I'm out here in Changtung Valley in Ladakh's far eastern ledge, scraping up against the border with Tibet. Changtung is a high altitude desert, and at 14,000 feet, the air is thin and the nights are bitterly cold. And yet, people actually live out here. And they don't just live out here, they migrate, they herd, they trade, and they spin some of the most luxurious wool in the world. This is the home of the Changpa Nomad, and they may very well be the toughest people you've never heard of. For the rest of this week, I'm going to be living out here with them. I'm going to be working with them, sleeping like them, eating like them, even toileting like them. Let's see how it goes. The Changpas have roamed the high altitude plains of Changtung since the 8th century when they migrated from Tibet. Rising to 15,000 feet, Changtung is the roof of India's largest cold desert, Ladakh. Ladakh is nestled amongst some of the most beautiful and highest Himalayan mountains. Its temperatures can reach freezing, even in summer. In contrast to the rest of India, you can travel for miles without seeing another human. It is amidst these unforgiving but mesmerizing landscapes that the Changpa wander. We are setting up our camp. So we've driven from Leh and we've found the nomads. They camp out in this valley and we're going to camp with them. Right by this beautiful stream with some of the cleanest water that I've ever seen. I've got a good feeling about this place.
Vinya kakpu mangsa lole.
Kakpu jung chichu na.
It was a hard day.
Tarko yata china.
Will you go tomorrow?
Yeah, I'll come with you tomorrow.
Toruchin lole.
Oh. Toringa yak chin.
Yasina.
Oh. Ko na macho china je macho.
Are you married or not?
I'm not married.
Na macho lo.
One day.
Macho na dang got no.
Yeah, why are you married? It's late now.
One day, in good time.
Yaksik chon lo.
Yak tik ta jogu.
I've got to meet the right Ladakhi girl.
Pami resi chono, pamasi changdas. Ah.
Lota macho.
Na lo ni shu saksum ko lo jubdun.
Hey.
Lo tu got ngaje yo bala. Yak pami mani tongba su che no te resi choni. Su mi sa mi gyu jelen no te zo chono.
Yeah, families or households which share similar spirit or the oracle are called Pashpun. And when there is a death in the family, and your Pashpun come together to help. So that is what it is. And when you are married into this house from some other house, and you have to, there's a ritual that happens to make you welcome or be part of the spirit of the house.
Okay. So who is that? That's not his. That's His Holiness, obviously. Who is this? You know?
That's Dukpa Gelwang Dukpa Rinpoche. He is the head of Dukpa sect.
Dukpa Rinpoche.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, in all my travels, I really think this might rank as the most exotic experience I've ever had. It's very rare to find people living an old way of life unencumbered by the effects of modernization. You starting to see it a little bit here, solar panels, cars, but I've got to say my first impressions is this is a society or a way of life that's pretty intact and exactly how it used to be or has always been. So yeah, this is a very unique travel experience for me. The day begins at 5:30 a.m. with the women braving the cold elements to collect yak dung, which they use as fuel for their fires. They pile the yak dung into their stove, known as a bukati, and light it to provide warmth and to boil the morning tea. With our bellies full of tea, we headed outside to tend to the yaks. The male yaks have the privilege of grazing freely higher in the mountains. The yaks remaining in camp are the calves and females. The calves are released to drink milk from their mothers. This is also a tactic deployed by the Changpas to tease the mothers, making them easier to milk. I've definitely found the udders. Show me how you do it. Are you just like a pinch? Okay. Yeah, let me. Oh, goodness. Oh, I got something. Oh, yeah. I might let the master get back to her work. That is extremely difficult.
Yeah, because it is so attached.
Yeah, and they're actually very small. The udders, and they're quite slippery. So we are in a traditional Changpa dwelling, otherwise known as a Rebo. It's made of traditional yak hair. It's quite smoky but very cozy. I'm just finishing off my morning coffee. We've got a big day ahead of us. We're going herding with the Changpas. But I just thought I'd give you a little tour of what a Rebo looks like. So what we've got is plenty of bedding and blankets for sleeping purposes. The male sleeps on this side, the female sleeps on that side. What we've got over here, so the Changpas are Buddhists, and so every family in their Rebo tent has a Buddhist shrine. You can see a picture of His Holiness here, the prayer wheel, another picture of a Rinpoche or head of the local monastery. This is very interesting. This ornament is actually made up of little slices of the Chengra goat ear. So they take a little slice of each goat's ear and they make this out of it. This is this year's herd, and this will be added to this, which is the entire family's multi-generational history of herds. And some of these date back, I'm told, a few generations to their grandparents and even great-grandparents. And here is a secret freezer compartment with all the butter that they've made. I find it very funny that the lady is in charge of the rations and the butter. She's the guardian of them. The milk from the yaks and goats form an integral part of the diet of the Changpas. Each day, the milk is manually processed to make different dairy products like curd, butter, and cheese. After collecting the milk, the first step is to filter out any impurities. The milk is then warmed on the bukari. The warmed milk is then wrapped in blankets to sit for some time before being processed further. She takes out a previous batch from yesterday and pours it into the churning container. The process of making butter is very interesting. The warmed milk is shaken vigorously to separate the butter from the curd. It is a long and tedious task, taking 30 to 40 minutes. The curd and butter are sifted and separated. A butter trader visits the home to weigh the butter and to transport it into Leh for sale. Is this a kilo? This is 1 kilo. Yeah, because if it was exactly 1 kilo, this would be level. 이 레벨에 온 거였어. 800 to 900 rupees. So I just asked Changpa, our Changra host, what one does to relieve themselves in the event of nature calling, and he handed me these smooth igneous rocks from the river. This is Changpa toilet paper. It's a high altitude desert, nothing grows here, there's no leaves or anything, so this is quite literally the smoothest thing for one's tush. Let's see how I go with this. Each day, the main activity for the Changpa is to take their livestock into the mountains in the search for green grass. The herds belonging to the different families are released each morning in a staggered manner to avoid mixing with each other. So the movement of the shepherds, and indeed the movement of the whole village, is entirely dependent on the availability of and search for fresh grazing pastures. So the nomads move when the grass tells them to move. And I'm told today we're going up into the mountains there to feed these sheep and goats. So there's no such thing as a day off for a Changpa nomad. There's no holidays, there's no weekends, rain, hail or sunshine. They're moving their livestock up into the mountains in the search for fresh grass. We are 2-3 hours into our herding expedition today. The goats are way ahead of us. They're way fitter than we are. We're about 4,900 meters, so very high. And I now understand why I haven't spotted a single overweight or unhealthy person in that village. They come out and they do this every day for about 10 hours, walking in this high altitude. Their diet is so healthy. It's all whole grains, natural dairy and fats. So yeah, we could learn a lot from them with respect to health. How are you going?
Totally. bit tired, but yeah, long day.
We're just getting started.
Yeah, the weather is supporting us today.
Roasted up here. To help them herd their livestock, the Changpa use a handmade slingshot known as a yoddo.
요 발 욕세 굿바제노 굿바조 툰툰 주스나 굿바 주룩게 가이나 데 주룩 앞으로 라체스 조는 거데 라스트 디자인 조스노야 데네데 쿠르스는 티 피에 노즈나 야그지 룩지 땡가다 라마 야과 다그린 차나 데니카 두아 카르세 데니니 혹지어 가가나 유조스니 조스는 데니즈 조스니 유카 두아 카르세 데니조 코르체노야 데니조 코르체네 그네 세치 부직 포라치다 데나 두아바 라마라 그
The yoddo is a vicious device capable of hurling rocks at great speeds. The shepherds spend 8 to 10 hours alone in the mountains with their herd. Passing the time is a challenge each shepherd must solve.
Bari yang cari kol, bari topari tu yang tapi kipera ritang bucano.
rice.
We've got our rice,
Curd and
curd.
some sugar.
Back at camp, we spoke to some of the Changpas to better understand their world. We found some women who explain the challenges they face in this lifestyle.
Yang micukan sama tayang tachi na mazara yang aja tako chiga tose na rong tose changpa to ta tose rong chiga tose le tose na kuli go yang nge piram chu duk chu ka changbe ama hoi zu ka chu ka nge pi cha rama la mama ye tane chi oi chura kamera za du tose rama cha za tose.
Can I eat it?
Huh? I cook.
Very fresh. No?
When metena tako meteringu kitsum duksum na no ba. Ta kipu yalla kipu no yang ayale. Ta gulla ne te ngaya dupu ino. Ka ho no ya. Namle khane tang na gulla ngaya pat dupu no ya. La ka tu chusu. Ta marsa rang sam khana rak le no ko na. Samne tair rama changjibo samne kitpura I thekinok samna kitpono ya. Tandi rama tangde atu ngamma ka ko tangdi rama nya bo mitenga duduk chegu chunga samna ne ma ka ko.
So the gentleman you see just over my shoulder is 82 years old. He's the oldest man in this Changpa village. Every single day we've seen him sitting out the front of his tent, much like he is right now, reading his Buddhist scripture and doing Buddhist chanting. We've been trying to get an interview with him for a little while, but he's a very dedicated student to his scripture, but he seems like he's in a pretty happy, accommodating mood. So we're going to try and have a chat to him.
Naso gain song the man trading message with teacher man jokwa jamdan dong silnya meta kweti ngun ni chajana talo se dei song de boko ngun man chang ma I rebo som ngaya jundan ja jebo khoti tu yaga kalde ta kalde loha kalde ta ji ka chana gorman ke de lam chu gedi to barana na gedi
Taksa chi na naso chan mu song basang te Ramanya Bondul Metu, Last Joe Matupa, Samba Chomu Chidano. Manmani Javan also, Katang Samba Chiponki, Minda, Ta Katang Chanya, but Tene Pat Kanari Undu, Taralo Asatopino, Namuyarka Saiki or something. Then a lutang in Trenton, Masam Tapusong. Ta Katang Chanya Rang Machupasan, Ta Rama Satova Mano. Tore khasa gusano rama borsa mana kaku che no sam ta therin tenon iwang jun tong lan bang ala ya ro na jud mangala da dang jarna yen de luru le.
So we just had an amazing day herding with the Changpa Nomads. You know, if you told me a few years ago when I was working as a lawyer in Brisbane, Australia, that I would be herding Pashmina goats with Tibetan Nomads at 5,000 meters, I wouldn't have believed you. But it just goes to show that life is a really big, beautiful, and unpredictable thing. Throughout the day, I've been reminded of some of my favorite lyrics from my favorite travel song, The Road Less Traveled by Graham Connors. And he says that if our lives are to have any meaning, there's only one way to go. Take the road less traveled, take the long way round. Let your life unravel as you cover that ground. Ride high in your saddle, face the world alone. take the road less traveled and find your own way home. And these lyrics have been somewhat of an anthem for me over the last few years as I've explored the world and learnt about it, and in the process myself. And so my unsolicited advice for anyone who's kind of stuck or maybe has something inside of them scratching at the door, my advice would be to listen to it. It's your gut instinct and it's telling you something, and it knows what's best for you. And you might just end up herding with a bunch of Tibetan nomads, but I promise you, you will not regret that. So I'm drinking a cup of warm frothy goat milk. I just watched this get milked out of a goat about 10 minutes ago. This is as raw as I've ever had it. It's probably the most amount of raw dairy products I've ever had in my life. My stomach's doing twists and turns. It's been a hell of an adjustment on a few levels, but it's good, very good. The Changpas' main source of income is their goats, which provide meat, dairy, and the fabled Pashmina wool for the Changpas to sell. This little guy right here is a Changra goat, indigenous only to the Changtung Valley. He is responsible for the Pashmina wool, which is the primary source of income for these Changpa nomads. In about 1 year, he will start to have his wool harvested, which may end up in the boutique stores of Paris or on the runways of Milan. But it all begins right here. Changtung is India's sole source of authentic Pashmina wool. The region produces about 40 to 50 tons of raw Pashmina wool each year. Around 85% of Ladakh's Pashmina herders are Changpa families. The wool is processed in Leh and Srinagar, the respective capitals of Ladakh and Kashmir. It is then sold domestically and internationally for prices that can rise as high as the hundreds and even thousands of US dollars. But here's the problematic twist. The Changpa nomads responsible for raising these goats receive just a fraction of the profits generated by Pashmina products.
So traditionally people were herding, they would only sell raw materials. That is what it is, and from what they were receiving then to now, there is a drastic increase in the price. But actual value addition is not happening in the landscape. I think that's one of the reasons which is leading to them receiving only a minimal amount.
And just to check one thing, what people know as cashmere scarves or sweaters,
Right.
that's actually Pashmina wool,
Pashmina
and it's
wool.
from Changtung.
Yes.
So just by sheer luck, the week that I'm living with the Changpa Nomads is the same week that they're having their annual Nomadic Festival. Thousands of Changpas from around Ladakh have gathered here today to celebrate life, to celebrate their culture, so we're checking it out. Can't believe I just paid for that experience.
Now it's your turn. No, I'm not riding.
I came across a young man who expressed concern for the future of the Changpa as a result of younger generations' reluctance to live the traditional way of life.
These days, they are not taking very much interest, and they are they think it in a way like just like now the festival is going on, and people come to see how we live, but they are not taking interest in how they can do, like how they can do it. They are not showing that kind of interest of like they want to be a shepherd for a day long. Actually, they are not taking even a day long, and they are not ready to go with their sheep and go for a day, and how they can take care of whole year.
then met the festival organizer, who explained the festival's objectives.
My idea was not to promote tourism industry. My sole purpose was to have some kind of way out to let these people aware about of their own rich culture here. We are doing something against the very nature of nomads, because nomads, they don't want to stay together. So people, they don't want to stay together. We are getting them together here. So it's a nice one.
It's been an incredible visit here at the festival. There's so many disparate groups of Changpa nomads that have come in. They've all got their unique culture, their unique dress code and dancing. So that's been on full show for us to enjoy. After having so many conversations with particularly the older generation and hearing about their concerns for their traditional way of life potentially dying or becoming extinct in the near future, events like this are crucially important to keep young Ladakhis connected to their cultural origins. So it's really, really good to see, and I've got to say, if this is anything to go by, Ladakh culture is alive and well. I just hope that this isn't one day of the year and they can keep this up for the other 364 days. The future of the Changpa nomad is uncertain. The older generations have their feet firmly fixed in a world of tradition and rhythmic routine, whereas the younger generations are leaving this life, opting for the city, embracing technology and modern convenience.
When you talk to them, they don't aram just do in the way. They give me you like a common to play Cambodia this ball.
Dangdere, two chick knees man George. Then two chick knee man machin terrestrial transfer. Man mangayan two dunoka. Two jungin jorka, Yinoksan songa. That two manguchana, chick silatong, chick chomo, chick lama, chick racing. Nyajino, as I do on a resident and that two chick money, Jormatic, Niman Jormatic, and I look sweet. Avama Yaptok sweet.
So, Merakaya, you look so unmade by Misha Kameno, Ika, Natasai, Angripauneno, Najara, Jules, from Bakon in Julie, then Dolo. There's on the money, Jimba, you to come and Julie Suze.
Opi tolong masang deto, teni pas demu masara, yang ini ni kai lokongan, rupon sama ni pegang apa. Purun yang demu sor merah kecikan ko macam yang korai sana ni konang di yang ko mi malo pale.
Di so kita kan oka, noro dena tu ne toko sama ngondo, mesin dah gari kai cik makan, nama demu. Akaru dirizakanina urzakanina chi.
So it's our last evening out here living with the Changpa nomads. Over the last 4 days, I've really tried to put myself in their shoes and understand what it's like to live and work out here in such a harsh environment. But what's only been 4 days for me is a lifetime for them. It still boggles my mind that people live like this in 2025, and as outdated or as simple as their life is in some ways to me, I've got to say there's a peace out here, and they're some of the happiest and kindest people that I've ever met. There's a quiet kind of wisdom in movement, in learning to live without leaving scars on the land. The Changpas aren't just herders, they're guardians of an ancient rhythm, but that rhythm is fading. And in a world obsessed with speed, convenience, and screens, it's worth asking, what do we as a species lose when the last nomads stop walking?
Lana tate lana chokan jeng mayung nata manang chongcham cheno min sokbo yang cheno changten lana macam cuita lana tong songka